Hello, let's get right to it. What's the message for today? The Hierophant and the Nine of Swords. You've experienced obviously some cruelty as far as other people are concerned. Maybe you just don't vibe well with traditional means of going about life. It's caused you a lot of heartache and pain. You know, sometimes huge organizations are very narcissistic in their approach. It's all about the bigger picture and never about the person or the individual. You might have experienced some heartache or cruelty in a marriage, some sort of traditional establishment. Something isn't working well in your life that is almost expected of you to just not even question. The thing that makes me nervous about large organizations of any kind, whether it's religious, educational, any sort of large organization of people, it can really leave the individual left to their own demise in a sense. If you have your own feelings or thoughts about a certain situation, maybe when it comes to marriage, you're met with a lot of conflicting people or forces around you saying otherwise. Like, you don't have a right to question authority. You don't have a right to question marriage itself or the idea of it. You don't have a right to question a priest or a school teacher or a principal or someone that's in charge. And this can cause a lot of pain, especially when there's not a lot of people that are on your side when it comes to such activity. You have to have enough bravery and self-realization to stand up when you are the only person standing against something. It takes a lot of courage to do so. There's a lot of strong people out there that will stand up when no one else stands up behind them. If they truly believe that something is wrong, whether it's for themselves or for other people. And you've experienced some sort of turmoil when it comes to standing up against a system or sticking it to the man, let's say. You're just starting to question, the things that are force-fed to you. People that don't question authority or they don't question answers to things, they just get force-fed information and they regurgitate it and then they don't think about it. They just go about their life like robots. They're just programmed by other people and then they don't even question it. They just go ahead at life. This isn't you. This is you going against the grain, and it hurts sometimes to do that, but you have enough strength and willpower in you to withstand this cruelty. Also, when you start to bring bad things to light, let's say, and other people just blindly follow this traditional means, those people are going to be coming at you because now you're messing up their reality as well. Now you're making them question certain things when they wouldn't have before. You have to be prepared to have some sort of backlash with people when this occurs. Let's evaluate here. What were you standing up against? regarding work, your survival. Survival instinct is strong, and just because we think of ourselves as not animalistic, we are. We're probably the most dangerous animals of all. And when we're put up against a wall, let's say, or when we're tested, or when we're trying to fight for our survival, especially when it comes to money, money makes people desperate. But you're not succumbing to this desperation. You might have a good career. And the reason why you're able to stack these pentacles and enjoy the outcomes, the fruits of your labor, is because you went against the grain. You stepped out into the void by yourself. You weren't afraid of the backlash. And this is where true freedom comes from, when you can really stand in your power and create what you need to. The Eight of Pentacles is giving you like a sense of accomplishment over such. So even though you've experienced a lot of backstabbers, negative, evil eyes, people that are trying to just test you in every single way, you've succumbed to knowing your truth and standing by it. Sometimes you gotta do it yourself. You gotta do it all yourself. The workaholic. Maybe you're deciding to leave a job that pays you well. You might be overworked, overtired, just spinning your wheels, let's say, and not feeling like you're getting anywhere, especially if you're in some sort of bog or organization that won't even let you progress as hard as you work. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. They don't care. It's all about the numbers and the money at the end of the day. You're just an object in this organization, but you're sensing like, okay, I'm working really hard. I am getting places, but I'm working too hard by myself. I'm picking up other people's slack. I'm doing it all myself when other people should be helping me. They're fighting against me instead. And I think today's just full of distractions. I don't know. I'm sorry. You're getting sick of being tested and having to do things yourself, and you're also being sick of being sick. I think you're being sick of working too hard. A lot of people like to blame the victim because it's easier. And if there's a work organization that you're, with, that is basically exploiting your time and your energy, when you stand up about it and say something, everyone else turns against you. It's not fair. It's definitely cruel. It's cruelty in action for sure. What's going on with this cruelty? The devil. Everyone, yeah. It's hard. If you're in some sort of bureaucratic system, or you just, let's just say like I'm just gonna give it as an example, like a New York City state of mind, where everyone's out for the dollar. They're willing to trample over you to get ahead. People are obsessed with money. They don't care about someone's feelings. They don't care about their livelihood. They don't care about their well-being. They just care about the bottom dollar. And you've been working, you're on your own things. You've been working very hard, actually, almost too hard. And maybe you've been obsessed about this for too long, like maybe you got caught up in the obsession as well. When people start to see the light about, money obsession, they start to break the chains. And it's going to be hard because people are going to gaslight you. or try to give excuses as to why you might quit or you might be walking away, um, or you're just dealing with you're not obsessed with money anymore. You're not obsessed with work anymore. You were just as much as everyone else was, because it's hard to not be when everyone is throwing it in your face. There's always competition. You wake up in the morning and you immediately start competing with everyone else. It's a really hard place to live, and it's not really fun. You're trying to look for ways out. And you're starting to say it out loud. Sometimes when you uncover your thoughts, like I was saying, people are going to bite back. They're not going to like it. They're going to gaslight you. They're going to blame you for thinking differently. How dare you think differently about this situation? You're making money. How dare you even think that this is too much for you? How dare you think that everyone's obsessed with money and not about the human experience? In your heart and in your mind, when you're alone at night or alone with your thoughts, you're thinking all these things on how you're going to get out of it. And you're making plans, but you're not really saying that much because you've experienced some cruelty regarding this, and now you're learning to kind of keep it in. Telling someone that they have a problem is difficult territory. It's like telling an alcoholic to stop drinking. Good luck. That person needs to stop for themselves. And same with workaholics. Like, you could see everyone's obsession around you with money, but I think you're deciding to keep these thoughts to yourself and move on silently, because the amount of cruel behavior that might come back at you for pointing people's insecurities out, pointing people's obsessions out, addictions out, shortcomings, whatever it is. You've learned to just kind of keep your mouth shut with certain things and have some patience. It's also about balance, temperance. It's about knowing when to speak up and when not to speak up about certain things. You're really learning that, that sweet spot of when to be courageous and show, what you're thinking, and when to keep it under wraps, like with the moon. You're learning how to balance this all out silently by yourself. You're doing the work in silence, and sometimes that's the best way to do it, because you won't have haters if they don't know what you're doing. If you stay silent, if you stay to yourself, if you just work on the things that you need to, without other people kind of putting in their 2 cents about what you're doing, why you're doing it, blah blah blah, you'll give yourself the space to make changes and balance out your life more. Balance out work with play. Maybe you need a little bit more fun in your life. You're coming to terms with how you were addicted to money or working too much in the past, or maybe you're realizing why you worked so hard in the past. What was the reason? What was your need for money? Everyone needs money, but what was your need? You think that you can get love that way? You think love attracts money, or money attracts love, let's say? If you're a male, I feel like that's an ongoing perception where it's like, oh, I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to be obsessed about my work. I'm going to work, 1 million, hours in a week. And one day, just one day, I'll have enough to, find love. And you kind of put love on the back burner. Meanwhile, there's you know, people waiting for, you know, to meet you, not your title, not how much money you have in the bank, but you, your soul. And, you know, once you learn to not lead with your money or your net worth or all that silliness, you learn to lead with your heart instead. And this is opening up a new sense of, a new opportunity, like just new opportunities in general. It's a new sense of perspective about life. You know, working so hard, time goes so fast, almost like in a blur. And you wake up and you're 50 years old, and then you're like, what happened these past 20 years? I don't even remember. All I did was work. And it's really sad, you know, and a lot of people feel like that. It's like, what was my purpose in life? To work for a boss that doesn't even care about me? You know, or I worked with people that were just terrible for me, just for money. I worked so hard. I almost became, you know, I was obsessed with it. I think you're starting to realize a lot of things, and the moon energy is telling you, like, to listen to your thoughts, listen to your intuition. This is female energy. When you go inward, you're introspective on your life, and you're looking to balance it out. And that takes time, and I think you have the patience now. You're figuring it all out in your head, and you're not really explaining it to much people, because again, when you change or when you start to do something differently and it works, other people are going to get really mad at you. It's just the way it is. I don't know. It's like showing them that there's another way in life and then proving it. And if people don't want to do that for themselves, they're going to not like it when they see it in you either. Two of Swords, yeah. You've really been in your thoughts. You've had a lot of conflicting thoughts about this for quite some time, but I think you're rounding the curve. You're rounding the bend on what you think is right and what you think you should be doing. And this time, you're leading with your heart instead of your money. And that's going to bring a lot more roads to go down, new roads to go down, new opportunities, new experiences, because now you're listening to your heart instead of your wallet. I'm not saying that money isn't powerful, because money is needed for all. We need money for everything. But money is also an energy. And if it consumes you and all you do is think about money, then you're distracting yourself from a lot. And I think inside you know how much people are obsessed with it, and how what they're willing to go through, what they're willing to do to other people to get it or to come out on top is kind of sickening sometimes. It's cruel. People will literally backstab you, front stab you, slit your throat, you know, like take your firstborn, like lie about you, you know, damage your reputation, try to steal from you, whatever it is. You learned along the way that money isn't king, your heart is. And at the end of the day, and at the end of your life, did you fully live? Did you fully explore your heart and all that gives to you, your emotions and happiness, right? What about happiness? Are you happy in your work, or are you just working and, you know, putting your head to the grindstone, or whatever that saying is? You know, you're constantly just in work mode, and you're just blind about everything else in life. And you've been conflicted for some time, because you know in your soul and your heart that this lifestyle is not good for you. And you're trying to make a difference now. You're trying to make a difference in things. One more card. These conflicting thoughts are going to be ending, because now you kind of know the right answer after you've given yourself the time to really think about it. Yeah, you're at the end of You're at the end of this. Exactly. The Ten of Swords. All this oppression that you felt with time, money, work, feeling overworked and underpaid, just exploited in the workforce. You know, all this oppression is done with. Like, you're over it. You know, you're overthinking, like, you know, like these conflicting thoughts. You know, like when you suppress your intuition for too long, it gets louder and louder. You know, I like to say it like intuition is like a whisper at first, and it whispers things to you, hoping that you'll listen. If you don't listen, then it will start talking. And if you still don't listen, it will start yelling at you. And I feel like your intuition has been yelling at you, to like kind of lighten up here and think about what you really love to do. You know, if money wasn't an object or even involved in your life, what would you spend your time doing? What do you love to spend your time doing? And these are the things that are starting to come forward. You're literally over this whole scenario. You're over this stuck energy. You're over like feeling oppressed, dealing with cruel people that are just obsessed with money and getting ahead. They'll trample over you just to get, you know, $1. It's just insane. You know, New York City is still coming up for me because it's kind of like if you ever go and walk around the city right before 9 a.m. and you see the workforce walking, you know, everywhere. There's huge, well, at least there were huge crowds of people that will be walking on the street with this vengeance in them. Like they're walking with a purpose, you know, almost like God, you know, like almost like going to war. And crowd mentalities are scary because it can turn negative so fast, and then there's thousands of people doing the same negative thing. You know, they'll trample over you, you know, to make the light. You know, like who cares if you have to stop for 3 seconds, you know, at a red light? Like they'll push you out of the way just so they can get there like 30 seconds earlier, you know. And that's the kind of mentality that you're sick of and that you're over. And it's kind of done with, in your opinion. I think you're kind of you've rounded the corner with this and you're coming out the other side. What's this oracle have to say about it? You are on the right path. Call on Siwar Kente for courage, confidence, and protection. So he's basically saying to you, you're on the right path. You know what's up. You're done with the oppressive feelings, the oppressive life. Life isn't about money. It's about experiences. It's about love. And it's about connecting with people. And I think you're starting to realize all of this once you give yourself the space. And maybe you're kind of licking your wounds with certain people because they've just been treating you like ish. You're tired of that, and you want to know that there's other parts of the world that are not as obsessed with money, or there's people out there that aren't in the same kind of mindset, and those are the people that you're gonna start associating with going forward. So good luck to you in your path going forward, and I hope that you achieve everything that your heart desires.